everyone, it's Sophia Hodgson from Rusty Blue 85, and today I would like to introduce myself via my fountain pen collection and other pens. I've been inspired by March Meet the Maker that I've been looking at on Instagram by loads of crafty people who are selling on Etsy, etc. And they're talking about themselves and introducing themselves via March Meet the Maker. This is Inara, as you can see in the corner. She's come to join me. She loves the spotlight, so hopefully she won't be chasing my pens all over the table. So first, before we start, I need to warn you about two things. I am left-handed, so if you see me picking up pens with my left hand, yes, that's my normal hand, and it's probably going to freak you out. Secondly, I am dyslexic. I cannot spell to save my life, and my handwriting is rubbish. So all of these pens have a little bit of a story that comes with them. So let's start at the beginning. This was my first ever fountain pen, and I don't know if you can see that it's just really chewed up, and it's been lovingly munched by multiple cats that I've had in my lifetime. But the important thing about it is that it has an oblique left-handed nib. I don't know if you can see that there, the left-handed nib. So when I was about 9, 10, everybody at school switched over from writing in pencil to writing with a fountain pen, and the school got in touch with parents and asked parents to buy their children a fountain pen. And my mum, who is absolutely amazing, I love you mum, went into London to the left-handed shop. I don't know if they still exist, but she went into the left-handed shop and she found this fountain pen for me so that I could write specially left-handed. However, with this fountain pen, I did tend to find that instead of writing with the paper at an angle and writing straight, I ended up writing like this. And because I was all kind of crunched over, I was getting all sorts of wrist pain, I was smudging it with my hand, it was just a horrific problem. So I ended up not using the fountain pen that much, and I was encouraged to go to a kind of ballpoint pen. And so this is my Lamy Safari ballpoint pen, and I got on so much better with this, and also I love the grip on all of the Lamys. So this was kind of my most used pen for day-to-day work. And that's my Lamy Safari. I also got a Lamy All-Star, and this one is just a standard Lamy All-Star with a fine nib. So it's got a fine nib, and also I got a converter for that one. So I absolutely adored this fountain pen, and it encouraged my handwriting no end. Like, my handwriting really improved with a fountain pen. I cannot write with a ballpoint to save my life. It looks like a child wrote it. But when I post this pen, it's just the right weight. It's really nice to work with. And so this fountain pen did a lot of exams. But as it's getting a bit old, you can see that now it doesn't, the lid just doesn't want to fit. And also it lived in my pencil case, so it is so scratched up. It is horrid. So I just wanted to talk to you about my inks. So far I only have 2 inks. I have a Parker Quink and my Waterman Purple, and I love my purple. But I only ever use it in one pen, and we'll come to that in a minute. So one day my granny gave me a birthday check, and I had seen this cross ATC in my local WH Smith's, and I had fallen in love with the blue colour of it. I just adored the colour of it. And so when I got the check from my granny, I went straight to WH Smith's and I bought this fountain pen. And I would say that this is probably one of my favourite fountain pens in my entire collection. And you can probably tell from the fact that it's manky that it's inked up all the time. It actually has a medium nib, and I never thought that I would love a medium nib because my Lamy has a fine tip nib, and I really like that. And I know that some people complain about the cross grip because it's very smooth, whereas with the Lamy it's ergonomically designed so that you can hold on to it. But I could write for hours with this pen, so this pen became very much my A-level university pen that I used for all of my exams and all of my note-taking. I just loved it. Now, I didn't know that you could get the ATC in other colours, and one day I found these two I think at the pen shop. So I insisted on getting them so that I would have, you know, kind of matching pen, ballpoint. So that's my ballpoint pen and pencil. Now, I always had a propelling pencil because breaking nibs, breaking leads just used to drive me insane, and sharpening a pencil over and over and over again is so annoying. So a propelling pencil is my favourite thing. Yes, Inara, we'll get to those. Now, then I found this purple cross ATC, and I got so super excited about the fact that I could get an ATC in another colour. And so I got this purple one, and both of my crosses have refills so that I can refill them. However, this pen, because it's purple, I don't know why, I'm a little bit of an OCD about this one. Because it's purple, I fill it with the purple ink. So that one is the only one that I really use purple ink in. All of the other fountain pens, if they do have ink in, it's always the Parker Quink. And the last one in my ATC collection is this breast cancer awareness one. It was a limited edition and it is a ballpoint pen. So I don't use it too often. I tend to take it with me if I need to scribble something down. So it lives in my handbag a lot. It was given to me by a really dear friend, and I'm so glad that he gave it to me because I now have a massive collection of ATCs. A more recent addition to my collection even is this Ted Baker, and it looks just like a normal pen, but I love the fact that when you post it, it's gorgeous, quite long pen. Again, I think it's a medium nib. I don't know. I don't know if that's a medium nib or a fine nib, but I love the nib. And whilst it takes cartridges, which is a bit of a pain, because there's very little in a cartridge, I still love this pen, and I've added it to my Frank Garcia planner, which is kind of champagne gold and rose gold, and I do think that it matches perfectly. So that one lives in my Frank Garcia, and I use that for writing down all of my kind of mood tracker, etc. So next I would like to talk to you about my dip pens. Both of them have come from Steampunk Glass. They're made by Glenn. And if you're interested in his dip pens, here's one of his business cards. So he's on Etsy. He also has a shop in Covent Garden. So this green one was my first ever dip pen from Glenn, and it's green and it's been fumed with silver. I don't know if you can see kind of the glitter in there. But I really like it. It's slightly heavier than I would prefer. And it's quite long, but I've been learning how to do calligraphy with it, and this was my present to myself for submitting my softbound thesis on time. And so during February I've been learning how to do calligraphy with it, and I got myself some Dr. P.H. Martin iridescent calligraphy colours, and I like to use this one with this pen. I think it's a really gorgeous colour. The one thing that you need to know about the Dr. P.H. Martin's iridescence is the mica really settles out, so you have to give it a good shake to reinvigorate all of that and mix it in with the colour. This is my other glass dip pen, again from Steampunk Glass, and this is one of Glenn's Nebula pens, and I don't know if you can see it glittering there, but it's got Gilson opals in it. So the Gilson opals are made in a lab, so they're not true opals, but because they don't have any water in them, he can include them in the glass dip pen. And because this pen is much shorter than my green one, I find it much better in my hand because I have tiny, tiny, tiny hands. So I absolutely love this pen, and this was my congratulations for passing my Viva. So now I have 2 dip pens, and this iridescent deep blue is the colour that I like to use with my Nebula pen, but I have a set of 12 calligraphy colours that I can use with my dip pens. So I can always mix it up and do loads of different bits and pieces. In terms of what nib I prefer with my dip pens, it's this kind of copper plate one. As you can probably tell from the fact that it is filthy with all of those different inks on it. I probably need to give it a damn good clean. But that is definitely my favourite nib for using with the dip pens, and I always have to use my paper at an angle so that I can get the right kind of calligraphy shapes when using it. And finally we come to the most recent addition to my pen collection, and this is my TWSBI 580 AL. It's the limited edition turquoise. I bought it secondhand on eBay from somebody who didn't like the weight of it, didn't like the way that it wrote. And unfortunately, because it is secondhand, it does have, you know, a few cracks here and there from, I think, where somebody's over tightened it when they're cleaning it out. But when I got it, it was beautifully cleaned. It was, you know, kind of ready to go. It was really lovely. So, you know, I can't complain. And it has a 1.1 stub nib. I won't lie, when it's posted, it's too long and too heavy. I do not like to post this pen at all, so I always tend to put the lid down and just write with it as a short little stubby one. And I've never used a stub nib before until I kind of got this copper plate one, but that one's much narrower than this. So I'm still getting used to this nib shape and how it writes. So I'm doing loads of practice with this pen, but I am really loving having a demonstrator for the first time. I really love kind of watching all of the ink in the barrel and cleaning it out and taking good care of it. So I'm looking forward to using this a lot in the future. So let me know what pens you have in your collection and whether or not you prefer fountain pens or ballpoint pens, or if you're a good old biro fan. And I'll see you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.